Have you ever had that moment where you open your banking app and think, wait, how did my money disappear so fast?
All the time. Or the flip side, which honestly is maybe weirder. You've got some money sitting there, and you still feel stressed. Like, why do I feel broke if I technically am not broke right this second?
Exactly, and that's what makes this conversation so important. Two people can earn the same amount and have completely different levels of stress, guilt, confidence, or fear around money.
Yeah, because this stuff is not just math. If it were only math, we'd all just make a budget, follow it, and move on with our lives.
Mm-hmm. But money is emotional and personal. It's connected to how you grew up, what you watched your family do, what you've been through, and what money came to mean in your life. In other words, this is your money personality.
So when we say money personality, we just mean your natural pattern with money. How you tend to think about it, feel about it, and act around it.
Right, not a label to box you in, more like a lens. It helps explain why one person feels calm after saving, another feels excitement after spending, and someone else avoids looking at their accounts altogether.
And most people are not just one specific type, as one personality tends to run the show, especially under stress.
I think that's true for most of us. We're usually a blend. But one pattern tends to show up the strongest when stress hits, and that's the part worth noticing, because stress usually reveals the habits that are running in the background.
Which is also where the drama starts. Not just with yourself, by the way, with couples, roommates, family, all of it.
Yes, because if you don't understand your own pattern, you may think your reaction is just common sense, and then someone else reacts very differently, and suddenly both people feel misunderstood.
Exactly. And that can really create tension with your relationships.
Welcome back to the Frugal Farah Podcast. I'm looking forward to discussing this further in today's episode. Today we're walking through 5 common money personalities: the saver, the spender, the avoider, the optimizer, and the giver.
As we discuss each money personality, just mentally flag the one that sounds like you the most. Then, drop a comment letting us know.
We'll keep this practical. For each one, we're going to talk about what happens under stress, the strength of that personality, where it can get off track, and one small shift that can help.
Which I appreciate, because I don't think people need another episode that just says, know yourself, and then leaves you there.
No, awareness is the beginning, not the whole solution. But it does matter because once you can name a pattern, you can stop letting it quietly drive every decision.
So, if you've ever wondered why money feels heavier for you than it does for someone else making basically the same income, this is probably why.
Let's start with the saver. This person is motivated by security. Saving brings peace of mind, structure, and a sense of safety.
A saver is like emergency fund, check. Budget, check. Backup plan for the backup plan, also check.
And yet, even when they've prepared well, spending can still feel uncomfortable. A real-life example might be someone who saves for a trip for months, goes on the trip, and still feels guilty buying dessert.
Because the budget approved it, but their nervous system absolutely did not.
Exactly. Under stress, savers don't usually feel careless. They feel unsafe. Their strength is discipline, stability, and long-term thinking. Their blind spot is forgetting that money has a purpose, and sometimes that purpose is joy.
So the simple tip here is to create a guilt-free spending category in your budget and actually use it without thinking twice. Even if you need to open a separate account and move the funds there, you've worked hard to save, and it's time to enjoy what makes you happy.
Yes, if needed, keep that money separate so it feels truly available.
Okay, next is the spender. I can definitely relate to this personality.
Yes, you can, Jake. The spender is enjoyment-driven, present-focused, and often connects money with freedom, comfort, or experience.
This is the person who may not remember what they bought last Tuesday, but they definitely remember how fun it felt in the moment. Instant gratification is their middle name.
Spenders often bring energy and joy into their life. Under stress, they don't feel reckless. They feel deserving. The internal message is often, I've worked hard. I need this.
Their strength is they know how to enjoy the present. On the flip side, their blind spot is spending without enough intention, then wondering where the money went.
A helpful shift is a 24-hour pause on non-essential purchases. Not to force yourself to say no, but to give yourself enough space to choose consciously.
Which sounds annoyingly reasonable, but I can confirm it works. I've started pausing a bit more often and saved myself a nice amount of money each month.
That's awesome. Good for you, Jake. Now, on to the next one, the avoider. This type can get overlooked because from the outside, it may just look like procrastination.
But it's usually a feeling of being overwhelmed. Unopened account alerts, ignored statements. I'll check it later. And then somehow later becomes next month.
Under stress, avoiders don't feel irresponsible. They feel paralyzed. Looking at the numbers feels so uncomfortable that not looking becomes a way to cope.
And weirdly, a lot of avoiders are not impulsive people. Their strength is that they're often cautious. They don't rush into every decision.
That's right. But the blind spot is that small issues can quietly grow while they're being ignored.
Best tip here, a weekly money check-in. Same day, same time, 5 minutes. Keep it boring on purpose so it becomes normal, which can make it feel less overwhelming.
Next is the optimizer. A few of my friends are like this. They're strategic, detail-oriented, and often very focused on getting every decision exactly right.
Spreadsheet people. Comparison chart people. The ones who can spend 3 hours researching a tiny difference between accounts and then never actually choose one.
Yes, exactly the case. Under stress, optimizers often feel anxious when things aren't perfect. Their strength is efficiency and intentionality. They can build excellent systems and make strong, long-term choices.
Blind spot. Perfection paralysis. Research turns into delay, and delay quietly turns into no progress.
A good shift is choosing good enough on purpose. Set a timer, don't overthink it. I know, easier said than done. And make at least one decision when it comes to your budget.
And last, the giver. My mom is totally like this. Relationship-driven, and she leads with her heart.
Aw, that's sweet. Givers are often generous, caring, and quick to help others financially.
Like covering someone's dinner, helping with a bill, sending money because a family member is stressed, and then quietly worrying about your own cash flow later.
Under stress, givers often feel responsible for everyone else's well-being before their own. Their strength is generosity and compassion. Their blind spot is giving past their actual capacity.
So the small shift is setting a giving limit ahead of time. Decide before emotion and guilt walk into the room.
Exactly. Kindness needs boundaries too.
Okay, this is where it gets very real. Because money personalities are not just one or the other in most cases, and that's completely normal.
Right. A saver and a spender both believe they're doing the sensible thing. For example, a wife will say, "We should be careful," and her husband says, "We should enjoy life," or vice versa. Neither is trying to be harmful, but they're solving for different emotional needs. This money personality clash can definitely affect the relationship in a negative manner.
Yeah. One person sees a spontaneous weekend trip and thinks about a fun experience. The other sees it and feels their blood pressure rise when thinking about the money they could be saving.
And then you also have other combinations. An avoider may shut down when a partner wants to talk numbers. An optimizer may overwhelm everyone with too many options. A giver may say yes to helping others without checking how that affects the household.
Which is why just communicate is not enough. You have to know what's driving the reaction first.
Yes, the goal is not to become a completely different person overnight. It's to work with your pattern instead of letting it run on autopilot.
So let's make this small shift list really clear. Saver. Build in guilt-free spending and actually use it.
Spender. Use the 24-hour pause so purchases become intentional, not automatic.
Avoider. Do a weekly check-in. 5 minutes is better than waiting for some perfect 1 hour money date that never happens.
Optimizer. Practice one good enough decision regularly. Not every choice needs maximum analysis.
Giver. Decide your giving amount in advance. You can be generous and still protect your own stability.
And if you share money with someone, it can help to ask a very simple question. What does money stress feel like for you? Not just what do you spend, but what happens emotionally when things feel uncertain.
That's good. Because people usually argue about the purchase, but the real fight is under that. Safety, freedom, control, guilt, all of it.
Exactly. I know I'm definitely a saver. I'm thoughtful with purchases and I tend to pause before I spend. That helps me in many ways, but I also have to remind myself to treat myself once in a while.
And I'm much more of a spender. I like comfort, convenience, little treats, going out. I can talk myself into things pretty fast, which is fun until I look back and realize those little choices added up.
But that awareness matters. Once you recognize the pattern, you can create a small shift that fits you.
Yes, and those small shifts are definite progress towards a bigger goal. Whatever that goal is for you.
So if you're listening, try to identify your strongest pattern, especially the one that shows up under stress.
And don't judge yourself for it. Seriously, this is not a good type, bad type thing. It's just useful information.
Awareness changes outcomes. Small shifts really do lead to bigger results over time.
I like that. All right, Farah. This was a good episode. Lots of valuable information. So I want to ask everyone, what's your money personality?
Drop it in the comments and be honest. This is always a judgment-free space.
Yes, we would love to hear from you.
Take good care of yourselves.
Spend with intention, save with purpose, and don't forget to subscribe. Can't wait for you to join us in the next episode.